The New York Giants hired former Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll, who helped improve the Buffalo Bills offense and help design the offense around Josh Allen and help develop Josh Allen. He's not the New York Giants. And he has a big task ahead of him this year. He's going to have to be able to get the most out of Daniel Jones. And I'm wondering, can Brian Daboll help save Daniel Jones' career? Because Daniel Jones, his rookie season was really solid. I was really impressed with what I saw out of Daniel Jones. As a matter of fact, I was kind of taken back at how his career has gone ever since. It seems like he's gotten worse every single year. He has 65 turnovers in 3 years, 36 of those being fumbles, and 29 of those being interceptions. You can attribute some of his turnover problems and his lack of development due to poor offensive line play, not really having the best offensive line around him. I understand that. However, there are a handful of times that Daniel Jones ends up getting sacked because he holds onto the ball too long. He doesn't really feel pressure. He'll step right up into a sack. He has poor pocket awareness. There are a lot of things that Daniel Jones has to clean up. And it's hard for me to see those things being cleaned up in the span of only one offseason. And the clock is ticking for Daniel Jones. This is it. This is his last year to prove himself as the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. Because you have CJ Stroud coming out. You have Bryce Young. Next year's quarterback class is absolutely loaded. Absolutely loaded. You did draft Evan Neal. So you're going to end up having a really good offensive tackle duo. Andrew Thomas on the left side, Evan Neal on the right side. However, their interior of the offensive line still isn't that great. Hopefully it can improve with some scheme changes. We know Brian Daboll is going to be able to design the offense based off the current personnel that he has. However, another reason why it's kind of hard for me to see Daniel Jones having success this season is because we haven't really seen too many quarterbacks have success with so many coaching staff changes. Look at what happened to Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay. He first got drafted by the Buccaneers in 2015. Lovie Smith was his head coach. Lovie Smith got fired. Then they brought in Dirk Cutter. Then Dirk Cutter got fired. Then they brought in Bruce Arians. And we saw what happened then. Now, Jameis Winston looks like he's starting to turn the corner with the New Orleans Saints. He was really solid last year. As a matter of fact, he was on pace to have the best season of his career. So, for Daniel Jones, how is he going to handle another coaching staff change? This is his third head coach that he's had in only a couple of seasons. And when you have so many coaching staff changes, you constantly put your young quarterback in a bad situation where he has to learn a new playbook, get acclimated to a new system. He's never able to get comfortable. Go back to Marcus Mariota with Tennessee. Although he didn't have as many head coaching changes as guys such as Daniel Jones and Jameis Winston, he had 2 new head coaches, and he almost had a new offensive coordinator almost every single year that he was in Tennessee. Constantly having a new offensive coordinator, having to learn a new playbook, new terminology almost every single offseason. It makes it hard on a quarterback to develop when you can't get comfortable in a system. Meanwhile, with the Buffalo Bills, they did things the right way. They built around Josh Allen, and they also kept the same coaching staff around to help develop Josh Allen. And Josh Allen got comfortable under Brian Daboll because he was familiar with the system. By the time last season came around, the dude was pretty much a veteran. He knew the playbook inside and out. For Daniel Jones, this is going to be, once again, a new head coach that he has to learn another playbook for. So, I'm somebody who's really optimistic, and I'm rooting for Daniel Jones to pull through because I've been telling people, hey, can Daniel Jones get his full rookie contract to show what he can do as an NFL quarterback? Because too many times in this day and age of the NFL, we're just so quick to throw a quarterback to the wolves after 1 or 2 seasons. What happened to a decade ago when you used to draft a rookie quarterback and you waited 4 or 5 years for him to develop? Now everybody's just so ready to find the next best thing. For Daniel Jones, this is it. Could he end up being Alex Smith 2.0? Remember, Alex Smith was in a similar situation to Daniel Jones. His first couple of years with the 49ers were not that great. And then his final year, he was able to put some things together, ended up being pretty solid, had a pretty good career overall in the league. For Daniel Jones, he's somebody that I view at the moment as a really good backup. He can come in and produce at times, but you can't trust him with the ball in his hands. He's turnover prone. He's gotten worse almost every single year. And you kind of got to wonder if he's kind of gotten shot. You remember Sam Darnold? Oh my goodness. Dude was getting baptized with the New York Jets. And by the time he left New York and went to Carolina, it was still a little bit too little too late, because those bad habits that he had in college never really got improved. Pretty much Sam Darnold's the same quarterback now that he was when he was coming out of USC. And Sam Darnold pretty much got worse every single year with the New York Jets. And I'm starting to see a similar trait with Daniel Jones. The dude that's gotten worse every single year. And even if Brian Daboll was able to work his magic and squeeze a little bit of juice out of Daniel Jones, what's going to keep the New York Giants from saying, you know what? Let's go ahead and swing for the upside. Let's go ahead and get a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud. Heck, they're on the board. We have the opportunity to get one. Why not? So for Daniel Jones, man, I don't know. I don't know if Brian Daboll is going to be able to save his career. This is his third coaching staff. He's regressed almost every single year. And I've yet to see a quarterback within their first couple of years in the league be able to overcome so many coaching staff changes. And you Giants fans can say, well, JT, the offensive line was holding them back. I understand that. However, Justin Herbert had a bad offensive line. He was still pretty good his rookie season. What about Joe Burrow? He carried the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl behind the worst offensive line in the league, getting sacked 3.5 times per game. Even Tua. Tua's been better than Daniel Jones, despite not having a great offensive line and not having a good group of wide receivers around him. And pretty much no run game. So I've seen quarterbacks do more than Daniel Jones in worse situations. So you guys let me know how you guys feel about Daniel Jones this season. Do you guys feel that Brian Daboll is going to be able to help save his career? Let me know down in the comment section down below. I appreciate you guys for listening to this episode of the JT Sports Podcast. Remember that the JT Sports Podcast is available on every single podcasting platform. Wherever you get your podcast from is available. Apple, Spotify, Google. Every video that's uploaded on the channel is available in audio format on all those podcasting platforms. Make sure that you go ahead and check it out. If you enjoy this episode, leave a 5-star review, share it with your friends, family, and acquaintances. And I will see you guys shortly with another episode of the JT Sports Podcast.